Yeah. We all. I think we all agree that there are physical differences between men and women.
So,
Yes.
okay, go ahead.
So now we went to gender roles. So we agree there should be gender roles.
Yes, definitely.
Right. Let's say we agree there are gender roles. What are they? What do religion? Because for example, different religions. This is kind of the topic. Maybe the better question would be the gender roles instead of masculinity, but that's fine. Different religions have different gender roles. I know a little bit about Christianity. It's very much the man is the head of the house.
Yeah.
Woman's the body, or something like that. Yeah. I don't know much more else, to be honest.
Yes. What I will say, in my opinion, gender roles should not be frowned upon on the at the same way they should not be forced upon. Okay, so if somebody feels, okay, if I family feels that this is the way they should act, okay, and mostly that comes naturally, but this family there is not a problem, but you cannot instruct other families to have this social attitude, to have this family attitude. This is my opinion. That's the moral thing, I think.
But I agree with you, but go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, please, sir. But there are religions. The traditional religious thought is that gender roles is the objectively good thing, and we should all thrive for this thing. And I think.
Right. So can I input something there? I think this is my guess that these gender roles are based on kind of human nature, like our.
Exactly. Yes. They are.
What's the word? I think that's why. Yeah, and from what I've been reading, it's like if you're going away from your nature, you're just kind of, in their view, you're harming yourself and harming the world, whatever. But what do you call it? It's,
yes, that is
Socrates. I think Socrates. We already had this discussion before.
Oh, I see.
But what I was gonna say is that what it comes down to at the end of the day is that when you make an ought claim, when you make a moral claim, or when you make a claim that society should or ought to act this way, you have to ground it in something objective, right? Otherwise, you have the problem of subjectivity, and it's relative, essentially.
Okay.
The problem here is that as I think Shu said, he said that it's essentially the point here is that it's grounded in something kind of biological, or it's grounded in something that's hardwired, and so, or natural, right? So the case he's making is that it should ought to follow this natural order.
Natural order includes not only gender roles, it also includes freedom, which is also an innate natural disposition, and potentiality of intellect, which is also an innate natural disposition. Muslim apologists who claim patriarchy as the exclusive natural disposition and not feministic social attitudes, for example, are misrepresenting reality. Idiots like Daniel Hakikatsu, who claims that human nature only demands patriarchy and not feminism, for example, is a total lazy, intellectually lazy idiot, misrepresenting reality. Simple. Yes.
Which is why it should be frowned upon when it's abnormal, right?
Of course, but wait a second.
Either case,
you just made a secular argument that in the religious point of view, that doesn't have to do with physiology. That has to do with what God decided in an abstract sense. So now I will take what you said. You said about physiology, but you only consider the traits in human physiology. You only consider the primal traits of humans. Are you considering consciousness and the high state of the human mind part of this natural order? Because humans are also intelligent. They are not only bodies. They have this intellect. They have higher intellect. So how can you force? Let's say, let me end my thought. And excuse me that I'm just passionate.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. what I'm trying to say is, let's say we have a female Einstein. Okay, so her physiology, her potential is to science. Okay, but you are claiming that because she's got a female body, maybe, I'm not saying you personally, but maybe she should stay at home and be a housewife. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you are referring to her biological potential, because including in her biological potential is the fact that she's very intelligent and she's got the mind of Einstein. So what I detect is that when you say physiology and biological potential, you are only referring to bodily traits and completely dismissing the consciousness part, the intellect part. Okay.
Sure, and I think I think that justifies if you're defining intelligency as consciousness, personally, I wouldn't define it that way. But if you want to define it that way, that's fine. I think that intelligency is a gender neutral attribute. So intelligency isn't factored necessarily into whether or not you're a male or a female. I think it factors into it's more of nurture, not nature, right? But anyways, the point I was making, and I think you might have misunderstood it, but I was saying that the theological aspect, or what religion has to say about it, is that in order to strive in a societal role, right, as frowning upon certain abnormal practices, I'm saying that that's grounded in a theological claim. So that's grounded in something theological. It's not necessarily something I can prove because of say it's natural or it's hardwired or something like that. So I'm saying in order to strive for a society to be a certain way, what we're doing is that we're grounding it on religion, which obviously we believe is objective, right?
Yeah.
So that's the distinction here.
So you ask the question how we go to the is to the ought. Okay, this was your initial question.
How do you go from the is to the ought?
Okay, so you are grounding the ought question to God. We are grounding the ought question to the human condition in this world, relating to our
what is that human condition? And so, what is that human condition? How is that an ought? That's still an is.
No, there is no ought in an absolute sense. There is ought in an objective sense, relating to our human condition in this world. Some things are better for our mental, physical, and social state, relating to our physiology and our position in this world. The word ought in this context means we ought to ourselves, society, and the world to advance good. It's not a statement of debt to someone, it's a statement of qualification between better and worse, using an excessive linguistic tool to highlight urgency. In contrast, even if God existed, we don't ought to do anything God expects from us, because we were never given any choice to be in this world, neither God ever did anything to advance the human condition. God, even if he exists, he was always absent. Relating to human physiology and the environment. This is the human condition. Is human
that's
physiology?
Still an is.
No, because human physiology.
That's not an ought. That's an is.
No, it is an ought. Why is not an ought?
How is it an ought?
Because our tendency, we have certain potential. That's not an opinion. Okay, so we have, because of our physiology and the environment, we have certain potential. This is not an opinion. So if we are not contradicting.
I agree. How is that? Where's the ought?
Ought is a product of consciousness, not of an ultimate consciousness. Okay. Ought is a product of consciousness, not of an ultimate consciousness. So, ought is a human mind product. Can you understand now? Ought is a product of the human mind. Why we have this product? How we came up with this? Because we recognized that in relation to the human condition, things can be better. And the moment we realized that in relation with the human condition, things can be better, then we said, we ought to do better. Okay. So for an absolute sense, there is no ought. Ought is a product of the human mind when it realizes that things can be better. Because, ought in an we need to make a distinction between the objective sense and the absolute sense. In an absolute
we already had this discussion. Look, we already had this discussion before, and I think it's going outside of the realms of the topic.
Okay.
And I think it's very simple. I think it's very simple, right? It started off by saying that these norms, these gender norms, if you want to call it that, it shouldn't be enforced, nor should it be frowned upon, right? That's your view, fine. I'm saying from a theological perspective, from what religion has to say about it, we say that there's a line of normality and there's a line of abnormality, and theological instructions point at avoiding the abnormal route and pursuing the normal route, right? Mm-hmm. So in that sense of the word, society, what we say is that society should, under a theological system at least, society should cater to the normal route and avoid the abnormal route.
Why though? Because you don't care about human well-being, sir. You don't care about human well-being. You care about the supremacy of a specific religion. Your outlook is not human well-being.
How are you defining human well-being? How are you defining human well-being? If you're saying human well-being is basically how they want to feel, well then that could be abnormal as well. Like how is that an argument?
I'm going to jump in and kind of, you're both right in a sense, but I guess human well-being maybe went a bit too far, because not necessarily, but I guess it is true that religions, especially in the Bible, it does say you have a family to carry on the generation so that the word of God can spread. It's very much that thing, you are trying to keep the religion around, you're trying to spread the religion. So it is in pursuit of spreading the ideology. Sorry.
Yeah.
That is it even says quite clearly that's what they're trying to do. You're trying to have a good Christian to spread the word of the Lord. That it's there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that is true. Now to say it doesn't care about human well-being, there's an argument because it is better to be. I mean, statistically and scientifically, it's better to be in a two-parent. Your kids to be in a two-parent household.
Yeah, but I can make an argument.
It's more likely that it's more likely that if a man is the masculine and the leader of the household, that the marriage would work and it would stay without divorce. Right. So it shows that when
and also you're doing it for something higher than yourself, I guess, would be the thing. You're also doing it for something higher than yourself, which is obviously to spread that ideology.
Both are right.
Yeah, but we
see.
Also, Socrates. Another thing is, if you want to talk about human flourishment, if you want to talk about kind of raising or rising the human standard of living, homosexuality would be the exact opposite, would not? Like, want to cause a psychological harm, even greater than that. Human flourishment itself would cease to exist, would it not? Like, if you can't produce offspring, then half the population is going to die out.
But exactly.
Like, I don't see your point here.
Yes, that's a perfect example, sir. We know that in this world, for example, we don't have any such issue. I mean, we are overpopulated, if not. Okay, and even if we weren't overpopulated, homosexuality has zero.
You agree, then?
Sir, the offsprings have zero relevance to homosexuality. For example, straight families make two babies. They can make, if they like, they can make every 12 months a baby. So they can make 30 babies if they like. So that argument...
so the whole point is human flourishment, right?
Yeah. So
would it be better for every person if you agree to human flourishment, if you want human vision, if you want human to flourish, would it be better if two people are producing at a rapid rate, or if only one person is producing at a rapid rate and the other person is not? like in principle. I'm not talking about practically, right? I'm not talking about how much space we have on Earth and stuff like that. I'm saying in principle, if you're advocating for human flourishment, and if you're saying that human awareness and that should be your objective standard, which I don't think it is.
No.
But if I just were to take it for sake of the argument, it still goes against you. Like,
no,
in principle, again,
because you are just acknowledging one factor which is completely irrelevant. Okay, so offsprings has nothing to do with homosexuality. For example, now we can make babies on tubes. So that has nothing. Either way, each family decides to not do more babies. Every family, if they wanted, practically, they could make 100 babies, practically.
Again, you're talking about practicals. I'm saying in principle, if the goal was
in
human
principle, let's
flourishment,
talk about in principle.
I'm disagreeing with you. I disagree with the argument. I'm just accepting it for
the sake of
conversation
argument.
to continue, right?
Okay. So
I'm accepting it for that.
Hey,
sense, and
I'm going.
saying,
Hey, stop. I'm gonna ask y'all to not interrupt each other, and even if you have to like mute yourself so you don't accidentally, do the person, please give each other a chance to speak.
Okay, sir.
Sure.
Otherwise, I'll have to take y'all down the stage.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes.
Continue.
Please, sir, you want to say something to end your thought?
Sure. I was gonna end by saying that in either case, I'm accepting the premise just so that we can continue with this conversation. And I'm saying that, look, if you really what's it called? If you really cater to and if you really acknowledge and advocate for human flourishment, then half the things that you're saying doesn't even apply. So, like, I guess in that sense, I'm trying to see where the argument is going. What you're doing now is that you're saying, okay, human flourishment is just one aspect of it, right? So that's fine. Like, I never disagreed with that either. But I'm saying, for you to have said in the beginning that you're advocating for human flourishment and that this theological aspect that I'm bringing with is counterintuitive to that, then that's the case I'm making. Now what you're changing your argument, or it seems to me as if you're changing your argument. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay. My answer to that is that obviously the objective should be human well-being. Defining human well-being, there are many factors. Having more offsprings is one of them. Okay, so there are many other factors. In this case specifically, making more offsprings is irrelevant to this case because it is a non-issue. What is in fact the issue is religion suppress or point blank assault human well-being in the case of homosexuals. For what? For just the idea. Okay, so that is what I'm objecting, because we have clear evidence in this world that homosexuals, as we speak, in theocratic places, okay, they are point blank abused, psychologically abused. Okay, some countries, guys, due to religious ideas, they are criminal against homosexuals. They are doing criminal acts. And why is that? Because the outlook of these countries is not human well-being. The outlook is religious supremacy. Okay, the idea of we need to preserve the idea of religion in the face of human suffering. In this case, the suffering of homosexuals. And that is my point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I jump in? So I guess I'm going to see if I can see it from their perspective. And I'm going to guess that their perspective is the well-being of the religion is the well-being of human society. So yes, maybe a very small, I'm playing what's called devil's advocate here, but maybe the small percentage of homosexuals, it would probably be a very small percentage of the population in that sense, who are being harassed and abused, especially in what's the word, countries.
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to think of how they're thinking. They're probably thinking this is such, they're a threat to human population. They're a threat to that kind of thing. So maybe they're trying to remove them in that way. I don't agree with it at all, but it seems to be the case.
Yeah.
So when you say that their only thing is to spread the religion, not human health.
Yeah. Those two might be together.
I disagree.
I
did because I think they're intertwined. I think for them, in their ideas, the religion and the human well-being are in a sense the same or various. They have many overlaps. They're not separate as you're saying it. They are.
Good point. Good point. I have an
Can I
answer
can
to
I add
that,
on
but
something?
please, yes. I have a response
Yeah,
to that.
sorry.
Yes, my response to that is that although they might be intertwined, okay, still there is a philosophical question that why we are doing that. Okay, so even if they are intertwined, you need to find we are thriving for well-being or for to please God. Okay, so that philosophical question is still valid. So, are we thriving for well-being or are we thriving to please God? That's still
Well,
a philosophical question.
in religions, it's always God first. I
Okay,
think it's God,
exactly,
then it's like
exactly.
family, then
That
it's
that is
something else.
the outlook of a religion by definition is
Yeah.
God, because if we say that the outlook of a religion is well-being, then it becomes secular. And my point here is that I accept religion as a faith, okay, but I don't accept religion in politics exactly because the outlook of a religion is not well-being, and politics should be practical things with outlook well-being, not with outlook pleasing God or maybe there is an afterlife. So we don't do politics with faith. We don't do politics with faith. We do politics with outlook, practical things, with outlook human well-being. This is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Okay. That's it. I was gonna divert the conversation, but if you want to say your last
Oh,
point.
go ahead, go ahead. I'm just gonna. I mean, I was gonna leave anyway. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right, man.
Alright,
Now coming back to human well-being, we're going to bring it back to the masculinity side. What does that look like, in your opinion?
You're asking me, sir?
Yes.
Can you repeat the question? What masculinity? What it
So you're
looks
talking-
like? Sir?
Yes. So you're talking about human well-being,
Oh, yes.
right? And you're saying, yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah.
Human well-being for masculinity looks like.
Okay. What I think is that we should not frown upon masculinity, but masculinity is something that comes naturally. So if I see a masculine person, I won't say, oh, you shouldn't be masculine. Okay? Because that is what feminists might do, some toxic kind of feminists. They say, you are masculine, you shouldn't be masculine. No, I'm not saying that. Okay, if it comes naturally to you, okay, be masculine. We need masculine. It's a good thing, okay? But we should not force people, or psychologically or with social ways, to force people or make them feel bad because they aren't this thing. And what else I want to say is I want to make the distinction between our physiology and our mind, because part of being human is the endless potential of the human mind. We are not bees, we are not an ant colony, so we need to have roles like we are ants or we are bees. The individuality in humans are ingrained. Individuality is ingrained in human nature. So in Greece, for example, humans means anthropos, looking up, endless potential. So we should not go against this potential of the human mind just because of in my sense shallow things like, oh, you were born male, therefore or you were born a female, therefore you need to be on house all day making food. No, she is a female, but on the other hand, she might have the mind of Einstein. So in this case, for this woman, it's better to go in the lab and pursue her dreams. What I'm trying to say, we cannot deny people pursuing their dreams. This is what I'm saying. And religion does that to women and homosexuals.
Okay, so
Okay.
right. Okay, some women's dreams are to be housewives and to look after kids and
okay,
to
that's
grow
fine,
kids.
sir. I'm not frowned upon housewife. Another thing is that well-being is not only to become a philosopher, maybe a person that makes good bread. Okay, we also need people that, okay, they make good bread. This is their tendency. That's also a good trait. That's also well-being.
Yeah.
Well-being doesn't mean only everybody should be philosophers or Einsteins or okay. Everybody has certain potential from their nature, so so we don't need to.
Something I want to
Yes,
something
please.
I want to say that you said earlier. You said we're not ant colonies.
Yeah.
We're individuals and stuff. My thing is, I think maybe we are more like ant colonies than we realize. You know how easily we are. For example, if you look at any history, even if you look now, how easily we are grouped up together, and you have protest movements, and everybody just jumps right into them. I think there's what was the saying? I think Nietzsche said it. We are herd animals. Like as much as we say we're individuals and we can think for ourselves, we are herd animals as well. So that's the one thing I want to disagree
That's
with.
true, sir. Yes, that's true. We have our personality, and also we have sociology. We are social creatures, so that's a good objection. But I think we should not oppress one side or the other. Why? Okay, I think we should do anything. We should oppress if we have to, but without human well-being, not without to serve a religious idea. The difference is humans serving the idea in contrast with ideas serving humans. We need to have the ideas serving us, not we serving the ideas. Okay, this is the difference. So if we have to do something, if we have to oppress an individual in order to serve well-being, that's good. But always the outlook should be human well-being. That is
For human well-being, there needs to be humans. There needs to be, and here's kind of a point that moves on to the kind of marriage side. The stats were something like, I'm really bad at stats, by the way, but the stats were something like 2-parent households are, if not always, better for kids than being a single parent. So now when it comes down to something like a religious marriage, could be Islam, could be whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of a union bond, which I guess has always been, I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I know it as a religious thing. I don't know if it's always been, but I know it as a religious thing. So that's one thing where, yes, you would have to sacrifice, in a sense, some human well-being, but inevitably the kid should, in theory, most likely, statistically, turn out better.
Oh.
Most of the time.
That
so then,
serving well-being, sir. If they come out better. So I'm not necessarily I'm against the religious patriarchic system. I'm not necessarily. What I'm trying to say is that, if that system is the best system, using rationality without well-being, then we are all for this system. But in religious, what they do, they don't use evidence in relation to practical evidence in relation to well-being. They say, because my holy book said so, therefore that's the best. Okay, and we see.
Right, I agree.
And we have we have evidence in this world that most often than not, this kind of religious concept doesn't help human well-being. For example, polygamy, for example, doesn't help human well-being. Child marriages.
How?
Yes,
can we ask you that? Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay, I'll present you a fact where polygamy is necessary. Okay, let's say a scenario where a husband, goes to battle and dies, and that mother becomes a widow. Would you say it's necessary that she marries another man who already has a wife?
Yeah.
And that man has 2 wives, and that man is capable of taking care of the 2 wives and providing for the family.
Okay.
Besides emotion, like he could not love 2 people at the same time.
Exactly.
Can you bring me like an objective reason to why that would be a harmful thing?
No, there will be, certainly practically, there will be cases that polygamy can be the best thing. Practically, okay? In practice, you never know, because everyone is, you cannot predict the character of everyone. But polygamy as a concept, as an institution, because we need to consider polygamy as an institution, not in a practical case, because in a practical case might be the best thing. But as an institution, it has some certain presuppositions. For example, in polygamy, you get away from love. from sexual. Isn't that right? Because how can you love?
Is there proof for that though?
I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not sure. How, can you love for people? I don't know. Can you love for people? That means that you don't
yeah, I
love.
can love all people of my family at the same time. I could love my sister and brother equally.
Okay, let me give you an example, sir. Let's say that you love your husband, okay, or your wife, because once in my life
Yes.
I was in love, and I know this feeling once in my life. So let's say the person you love, it's in the other
Yes.
room having sex with another, and you hear them having sex. Okay, that
Okay.
doesn't affect the psychology of the one woman. I think that affects the psychology. Moreover,
I think it just depends on how that woman perceives the thing. It's not
Yeah.
like the woman is forced to go into polygamy. If the woman is fine
Yes,
with that, she can.
but
But
it's
I don't think there are any studies to prove that, because I brought you an example of how you can love 4 people at the same time. You can have 4 family members. You can love them all equally.
that's
I believe that if the woman realizes that sex is important and must happen, yeah, I don't think she would have a problem with it, as long as the husband does give her the same attention.
I'm also going to jump in and say that there are women who have found their soulmate in quotations, or husband, sorry, whatever. Their partner died, and then they found somebody else, and this is their true soulmate.
Oh.
You know, this has happened before. There isn't only one person you can love.
And the answer to that is that's why I made the distinction between institutions that focus the probabilities and individual case. Because let me give you an example. We have laws against murder, but even if the law existed or not, either way, I was not going to kill anybody. Either way, but therefore, institutions and laws are meant to predict the probabilities. So. The institution of polygamy has a high probability of certain things to happen. Okay, so it's not the best moral, in my opinion, it's not the best moral institution. So I think it's irrelevant to give individual
Why?
cases. I gave you the example why, because in individual case, for example, now we have a law against murder. Even if this law existed or not, either way, I wouldn't go and kill anybody. But that's just me. But the law of murder predicts that someone over there will murder. So the institution.
So can I
Yes, please.
can I just hear what you're saying? So you're saying that there's no need for marriage or polygamy because you can just say that you're not going to cheat. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, what I'm trying to say is that although polygamy might fit certain people, the institution of polygamy is morally wrong because as an idea is morally wrong because you will have many people. It's harmful for the society.
What if the society doesn't view that as moral? What if it views it as a normal thing? Do you think that will have a different physiological effect on the brain? If that society views it as immoral, and they have no problem with it, and a wife is happy with
let me tell
another
you why.
wife.
Because one has, although, sir, you might be or I might be a very good husband and treat all my wives equally, okay?
Yes.
Some other male might abuse the institution of polygamy, and that will bring problems. Okay, because why? Because I have a wife, and then I feel.
No, I didn't say how. Like an example of how he could abuse it.
Okay, I will give you one. Okay, I am a bad man. Okay, I have one wife, and then I saw in the street. Oh, that lady seems. I felt horny for this lady. Okay, I have money. Let me marry her. Okay, then, without asking the permission of his wife. Let me marry. It's my right to have a second wife. Okay, that
typically
is an
isn't
assault.
polygamy, though.
Sir, that's a direct assault in the psychology of his wife. That is a total disrespect of the psychology of his wife. So the institution of polygamy, although it might fit to certain people, the institution is a wrong institution and should not be applied.
But wait, why would the wife? Argument. Okay, so no wait. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it is weak in my opinion. But
can I give you an example? For example, in Islam, they all have you have a wife, and you can have multiple wives as long as they agree, and as long as you are 100% able to provide. And there are other people from what I know, in the institution to make sure that you do have enough money and have enough time to provide for the other wives and their kids.
Yeah, and you also have to pay like there's a dowry.
Yeah.
If you want to marry a woman, you're gonna have to pay her. I mean, it depends on how much money she asked.
Correct.
But let's
To show
say
that you can.
let's talk about Socrates' case here. Is that if the woman, was not fine with it? So
I
in
want to
what
ask-
case would the woman not be fine with it? Would it be like the case that the woman would view polygamy as immoral, or is it
Okay,
different?
let me
Different.
okay, let me answer that. Okay, first of all, you need to say if a woman has a choice in it. So a woman can deny polygamy in Islam. So let's say my husband, I'm not a woman, obviously. So let's say the husband said wants polygamy, but the woman doesn't like it. The husband is in Islam. Is he free to pursue polygamy?
No.
No. Are you
If
sure
he-
about that?
The woman,
There's a difference of opinion on the scholar. I like to follow the opinion of Ibn Hazm on it, where he can't marry.
If the
he
woman
can't
doesn't agree.
with the permission of his wife.
Okay, because
But in
that's,
some cases, it is. Some scholars do agree that he can marry. But let's talk about this. Ask you a question though. Yes, let's say that this thing is permissible, that you can go and marry without the permission of your first wife.
Yeah.
Let's assume, right, that the first wife doesn't view that thing as immoral. What other reasons would the first wife be upset?
okay. Let me take one. I gave you already one example. Maybe she gets
What is
jealous. Jealous. Maybe
jealous?
yes. Maybe the guys. Everybody knows. Okay, that a life is very complicated. So maybe the first month it will go along. Then it's the possibility of then she's being jealous, because we are humans, guys. Obviously, we will like the one woman a little bit more than the other. Okay. So, like for example, Muhammad with Aisha. Aisha, he preferred this wife. Okay. So, at some point in the future, maybe the lady, the one woman feels neglected. Okay, that's a high probability in this institution. So why we should apply this institution? And moreover, there is the other question. That was a good rule, let's say, for the 7th century. Now, if that doesn't apply in the modern world, should we then be able to change this rule? Or because Islam said so, it's an absolute that we should apply it.
I'm gonna reply to some of your points. So again, the thing you presented me is that the woman might be jealous, or she might not be happy that the husband is not taking enough care of her, not giving her enough attention. That will still fall under the rule that you must be able to take care of all your wives equally, right?
Yeah.
Because that rule is still here.
Yeah.
If you're not able to take care of the first wife, right, and just give all your attention to the second wife, the first wife has the right to go out and divorce you, and she will get paid for divorcing you.
That never happened, sir. And that is the proof of that is your prophet himself. He didn't treat his wife equally. First of all, that's the proof. And it's like saying, okay, I will put a drug addict in a room full of cocaine, but you shouldn't touch the cocaine, okay? And okay,
how did
the
Prophet not treat? How did the Prophet not treat his wife equally? Because we have hadith that whenever he has sexual intercourse with one wife, he has sexual intercourse with all of his wife. He does not leave one out.
His wife complained that he doesn't treat them equally.
And what did he do after that?
What did he do? Now that's a theological conversation. I don't know. Okay, let's
exactly,
assume that.
But we can't just assume a premise like
yes,
that.
I can follow that, sir.
Exactly
there is a hadith. You
so
don't want to go to hadith.
I know, but in Islam, what I'm trying to present is that a woman has the right to go out and divorce you. Is what I'm trying to say.
No. Again, you are wrong.
We have
sir.
a Sharia court.
A man can say things. Okay, if you want to go there, sir, a man can say to his woman 3 times, "I divorce you," and he's divorced. A woman cannot do that. Islam, isn't that right, sir?
No.
Okay.
As far as I remember about fiqh,
Yeah. What I'm saying
So
now
is
is
that a
not true.
question?
Either way,
Can I
let's
ask
not
my-
go to Hadith. Please, Kufari wants to speak, please.
Yeah, I don't want to speak. I just want to ask a question. Are you against cousin marriage?
Sorry, I cannot hear you very well, sir, because your microphone is cutting. Sorry. Can you repeat what you said, sir?
Are you against cousin marriage?
Yeah. Okay.
Against homosexuality?
Homosexuality, yes.
So you're against homosexuality?
What is homosexuality? You asked.
Oh my god, I don't want to ask you anymore.
No, sorry, sir, because
Okay.
your voice is not. Maybe your microphone has some issue.
Your microphone is so like muffled, man.
So I'll just rephrase the question. If the internet connection goes out, just correct me. Are you against homosexuality? Same-sex
It's a different
marriage?
question.
No, I'm not against
No, I'm not
homosexuality.
answering the questions.
I'm not against.
I'll make. Go on.
Yes, I'm not against homosexuality. No.
So you're against cousin marriage, not homosexuality?
First layer, it's not about homosexuality.
What?
No, I want to change questions. So, it's homosexuality, right?
Kufir, your mic has really gone.
It's off. It's saying it's irrelevant. I won't finish it. So you're against homosexuality, and so you're not against homosexuality, but you're against cousin marriage, right?
You relate homosexuality with cousin marriage? Isn't that what?
Bunch of questions.
Okay, guys. Okay, moderator, can we?
Yeah, sure. As long
I'm
as you answer.
sorry, Kufir, but
Yes.
I can't understand anything you're saying.
First layer, your mic
Type
is
it in the
lively
chat.
and
Type it in
muffled.
the chat, I
Trying
think, and we
to
can
type
answer
it in the
that.
chat so we can hear.
Yeah, type in.
Okay, let's see.
I'll just allow you. Give me a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I couldn't hear what
that
you
was
were
something.
saying.
No.
So, what were? So
All
about
right.
What was
So
the?
I guess okay. So my point was kind of more coming back to these institutions, as bad as Socrates is saying they are. It seems that there are some positives in the sense of having a two-parent household, having a mother and a
guys.
father. Hello.
Hi,
Having
Shu.
having a mother and a father. Yeah, what's up?
I just need to jump in real quick. Like this state, like there's hard to hear some people on the stage, and there's been a lot of people talking over each other. So at this time, I'm gonna ask you guys to go ahead and give closing arguments. We're probably gonna wrap this stage up and try again later.
okay. Yes.
Oh, well. How long has this been? How long has this been up? By the way.
About an hour.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have.
I guess my closing argument would be there is some aspects of that religion that is for human benefit, which is to have a mother and a father in a family. I mean, that's something.
Oh
I
yeah,
believe.
I agree with you, Shu. By the way, Sharia covers all aspects of life, so everything is governed by Sharia, which is
Right.
like fiqh rulings and not. So basically, even on politics, we still have like rulings for a state, rulings for family, marriage, economy, and more. Actually, it extends to a lot of issues, education, and more.
Gotcha. And I guess from what I've read of Christianity, it has a similar thing as well. It's got plenty of things to do and not to do. That kind of thing.
Depends. There's a sect in Christianity that only believes that, and they take like Talmudic rulings from the Talmud, which is from the Jews.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty, but we're not going to get into that. It's a long, it's a long thing. And I guess that would be my closing argument there. And I wanted to see what Socrates thinks, because what would you say the agnostic, or what, I'm not sure, what's the secular solution to, let's say, raising kids in that sense,
the main
as a man
difference,
and a woman?
the main difference I see with the secular point of view, with the religious point of view, is that secularism focus on
Adam.
Excuse me, sir.
Sorry.
No worries, sir. Yes. the secular point of view focus on well-being with and practicality. The practical things we'll do for human well-being, in contrast to the religious outlook, which doesn't got outlook well-being, and moreover, it doesn't use practice. Okay, so,
I'm giving you an example of practice.
Yes, I'm wrong about that.
Of like a family.
Yes, I'm wrong about that. So they don't have outlook well-being. So the outlook is to serve the dogma, the religious.
Yes, of course,
dogma.
the ideology. Yeah,
the ideology. Moreover, the dogma cannot be challenged. So in secularism we can change. Okay, we can change the method. In religion you cannot change. The dogma cannot be challenged. So it's not about rationality. What I'm trying to say is not about rationality. It's about dogma. So they are not using rationality. They might pretend to use rationality, but in fact they are using dogma. They are just doing apologetics. So we have. Yes.
Can I reply to that? Would be yes. There definitely is some dogma. Obviously, there has to be some way to keep the religion alive.
Isn't there dogma in every single ideology?
Yeah. There is in every ideology. That's what keeps it going. We can talk about any ideology here. But there has to be some rationality or something for it to still be alive, even though you could argue it's dying, and yes, it is. But there has to be something behind it. So there has to be some truth in it. I'm not saying it's all right. I'm not saying with any religion or any movement, but there has to be something that plays on our emotions. There has to be something that
I accept what you're saying. There is a qualification. What you're saying. There is some kind of qualification. I make blunt statements, although they are more qualified. That is what you're trying to say.
Right.
Yeah.
So can I ask
the point here is that secularism is not just one ideology. It's a branch of ideologies, right? It extends to a lot of ideology.
Yes.
For example, Islam presents you like a ruling on how you should legislate the state, correct?
Yes.
And communism gives you also the same thing on how you should legislate the state.
Yeah.
Legislate the state, okay?
Communism is not.
If you're not, so which, okay, if you disagree with the rulings that Islam gave you,
yeah,
you're leaving that path. It does not mean that you're dogmatic. Every ideology is dogmatic because it's telling, like, communism thinks it's right, Islam thinks it's right, right? Both ideologies are dogmatic in this case.
Yeah.
If you disagree with the rulings, you can leave, right?
Not always.
You can
Not
disagree
always.
with that specific ruling.
Yes, not if the society is set for Islamic supremacy, for example. Because, for example, let's go to Saudi Arabia, to Iran, let's say. Political Islam is imposing itself to people. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, in other words, you made a false dichotomy. You said communism with Islam. But wait just a moment. Communism is also a religion. So you are giving two dogmatic examples. So you gave two dogmas. The real distinction.
What I'm trying to say is that every ideology is dogmatic.
Yeah, but
some are worse than others, I guess.
Yes, but the true dichotomy is dogma with reason. So we can say secular societies, liberal secular societies, are not dogmatic, or they are dogmatic in a very, very lesser way. So, but the distinction should be dogma with reason. So I detect.
Hey, the age ends. The next ends right now. It's 1:02. So.
Okay, so we should close the discussion. You mean, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. It was
good
very nice
discussion.
talking to you.
Yes.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.